Welcome to The Growth Mindset with Mike and Keisha, the podcast where we unlock the secrets of entrepreneurial success. We're your hosts, Mike and Keisha. We're business entrepreneurs and influencers, passionate about sharing the wisdom of rising stars in the business world.
Hey, hey. Hey, y'all.
Woo-hoo. All right.
Welcome,
All
everybody.
right. Yeah,
Right.
we're here. Welcome to The Growth Mindset with Mike and Keisha, the podcast where we unlock the secrets of entrepreneurial success. Every week, we bring you candid conversations with successful entrepreneurs who have cracked the code to business growth.
We're your hosts, Keisha and Mike, business entrepreneurs and influencers. We're passionate about sharing the wisdom of rising stars in the business world. So get ready to take your notes and be inspired. Let's dive into today's episode.
Today, we would like to introduce our outstanding tax expert, Miss Sheila Williams. Woo!
Okay, so
Hey, Sheila.
is a highly
Thank you for
accomplished
coming on our show.
expert with both a master's degree in accounting and financial management and an MBA from Southern Nevada's Keller Graduate School. With extensive experience as a bookkeeper, payroll coordinator, and senior accountant, Sheila has honed in her accounting skills throughout her career.
As a head of SheWins Bookkeeping Services in Las Vegas, Sheila manages the daily financial operations of over 45 to 50 companies, offering expertise in areas like business operations, tax, and financial planning. Outside of her work, she enjoys her ministry, music, boxing, and dancing while she serves as a CFO for Angel Eyes Fitness and Nutrition, a nonprofit empowering the visually impaired.
Wow. And
Welcome.
let's go ahead and welcome Miss Sheila.
Welcome, Sheila.
Welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. And so we're going to dive in. We know your time is valuable, and we do appreciate you taking the time out with us. I'll go ahead and start with the first question. Okay, we would like to know a little bit about your background and how you got into the bookkeeping and accounting business.
Well, my background is over 35, close to 40 years in the accounting area. Originally coming out of high school, I had a great love for dance, and that's what I wanted to pursue, was dance. And my mother said, no, that don't pay the bills.
Oh, really?
So I went to school for executive secretary. I completed that, and I took on my first job, and after like a month or two, I was like, this is not for me, and I went back to school. And I started accounting because I was like taking jobs as an AP clerk, payroll clerk, or whatever. And then I was a bookkeeper. Then I was a staff accountant. So I said, makes sense. And so I went to school, got my bachelor's, decided to go on because I wanted to sit for my CPA exam. And at that point, the Enron situation had happened. And in order for you to sit for that, you needed 150 credits. So I went to Keller Graduate, got my master's, but my master's is in forensic accounting.
Interesting.
So I took my certificate for forensic. And then once I did that, I started taking the test for the CPA exam. And then I met someone on my last test, which was auditing. And he told me, with your background and all of your degrees and everything, you can just go get your EA. He's like, the tests are hard, same thing, but you can complete it and you probably can pass it way quicker.
What was the EA?
So that's what I did. It's a EA. It's an enrolled agent.
Okay.
So I actually have my certificate for the enrolled agent and certified forensic accountant.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I'm just always in school.
Look, I thought
I'm just
I
gonna
was.
tell you
Look,
that.
I thought I had a lot of degrees and certifications.
Sheila,
I love that.
I've been researching it, and it looks like you have what, 3 degrees, 3 masters.
Well, 3 is the ones that's
2
listed.
masters, BA.
Yeah,
You never
The
stop
ones that what?
learning.
those 3 are the ones that's listed.
Yeah. Awesome. You have others, huh? Well, I'm very impressed.
Yeah. I
Yes.
have to.
You have the knowledge to help people through their situations. I did one thing that you mentioned. You said that you studied forensic accounting. Wow, that sounds deep. What is that about? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, forensics is more like it's like an auditing skill, but it helps you to find those people that cook the books. Like
Right, that's what I thought
you
it
know
was.
what to
Okay.
look for. You know what to look for. A lot of the people, like when Enron happened, it was more the forensic people that
I got you.
yeah.
So they go in and they find the issues that people are trying to hide from
Yes.
the government, right?
Yes.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you. Finish. Tell us a little bit more about your journey.
So I've worked in different types of firms. And then when we moved to Las Vegas, I worked for several of the big firms here in Las Vegas. And my last firm that I worked for, I was the accounting manager over all of the accountants. And that's when I realized, like, when you work for most firms, they're morely concerned about the money that they're going to get from that client.
Yeah.
Most of us, and I have to put myself in that too, you hire us to do a job, we do that job, and sometimes we don't ask the right questions, and sometimes we don't do a thorough job because you didn't ask us to do it. So that's when I decided to open up my own firm. And our firm is more of an educational firm.
I like that.
So we work hand in hand with our clients. We go over their books monthly. If they are suffering a loss each month, we sit them down and we go over it and we try to see how we can change it. Because if you're not making a profit, then it's no need for you to pay us because it's more like a hobby than a business. So we work with them hand in hand. And, you know, sometimes our clients, when we stop because they pay us monthly, and if they suffer a loss like 3 months in a row, we stop their payment. So then 2 months will go by and they'll say, I noticed you stopped our payments. And I'm like, yeah, you got an email that we stopped the payments because you're suffering a loss. We can't get in contact with you. You're not responding to our emails. I am not your bank. I am your accountant. And if you're not, you know, showing us a profit, I'm not here to waste my time, and I'm sure not here to hold your money.
Wow.
So, you know, we're a little different, and we do require the owners to work with us. You have to set aside at least an hour or maybe 2 hours a month to review the financials with us. And we tell you what you're doing, what you're doing wrong, how you can change it. We even throw ideas at you, you know, and then we question. We put a lot of questions out there. Hey, I see you did this. Why? Why are you doing that? And then they explain it to us. And sometimes it's like, okay, that makes sense. Or sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, it's a little costly. You could do this instead of that, and we can make your profit a little higher.
And then with you saying that,
once they see it.
and then with you saying that, because that's a good point that actually a leading question that I have with that. Like, what are some of the mistakes
Mhm.
that you might see some entrepreneurs making when it comes to the taxes?
The biggest mistake that I see most entrepreneurs make is that they don't separate their business from their
Personal.
personal. So they have one account and they're using that for everything. That's one of the biggest things. The second biggest is they don't treat the business like it's a
Mm.
business. Like they will start a business, and when they start the business, maybe they worked a job before.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when
Right.
they're starting the business, they're just trying to replace their income. So
Right.
they go into it and they say, okay, I need to make 6,000 or 8,000.
Mm-hmm.
Or they calculate their bills for the month and say, my bills for the month is 6,000. So I need to make 6,000, maybe 6,500.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they make that, they lax and they don't hustle.
This,
And then they start the whole
right. They
process
get
over.
comfortable.
Yeah. The next month.
Yeah.
And that's not,
That's interesting. So you,
yeah. And that's not
that's
running a
not, yeah, not the
business.
way to operate. No, it's not.
That's
It's
not.
absolutely not.
That's just making enough to cover your
So,
expenses, which the IRS looks at as a hobby. It's not a
yeah,
business.
Mm.
it's a hobby.
Interesting.
So, when is a good time to hire a bookkeeper?
I think that it's a good time to hire a bookkeeper or an accountant in the beginning stages. And I wrote a book, um, and it's called The Long Road to Success.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book, I break down why you need that, because there was mistakes that I made.
Mm-hmm.
With all of the knowledge that I have, there was mistakes that I made. And one of the biggest mistakes that I made was when I started, I didn't need any type of financing or anything. I was just starting my business. I knew, I had enough clients and I was just going full at it. And when my business started growing,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a plan for that. And I didn't have a business plan
Mm-hmm.
because I never wrote out the business plan. Because in my mind, I don't need a business plan because I don't need any finances and I don't need any investors.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge mistake
Yeah.
because had I had the business plan, I would have been prepared for that growth
Mm-hmm.
and for that big move that I had to make. And I made the move, but I was very, very reluctant and I was very, very scared. But I had good people behind me that pushed me and say, you can do it. It's going to be okay. You can do it. And they pushed and pushed and pushed. And that's what helped me to move forward. But wonder if I didn't have that, I would have allowed fear to take over
I like that.
because I didn't have a plan.
Exactly. You have to have a plan. I agree with that. I'm
Yes.
100%. That was probably one of the first things I did when I started on the business venture, was like have a plan so I can kind of know where I'm going, and like the vision.
Yes.
Even if you don't really have it all the way down, start somewhere, right? And have it there, and you can
Yes.
always go back to it. And like,
And then to
no, go ahead.
another thing, another thing is that a lot of people, they start their business
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing that they do is say, I'm going to start an LLC. When I started
Yeah.
my business, I started as a sole proprietorship because I had no
Hmm.
clue what my business was going to do. So I needed to
Right.
check it out and I needed to see what
Wow.
I needed to do because
Yes.
here in Las Vegas, there's a lot of fees associated with setting up a business,
Mm-hmm.
keeping your business license, and all of that stuff. So I started off as a sole proprietor. I didn't switch. And when I switched, I looked at all business, even though I understood the format,
Mm-hmm.
I had to
Hmm.
really evaluate, okay, Sheila, what are you trying to do? So when I did that and I wrote it all down, I knew that I needed a corporation and not an S corp
Oh, I'm so glad you said
because
that, girl.
I,
Cause there's a lot
I
of people that
wanted,
need to know. Like, how do they know?
yeah.
Okay, I need to do an LLC. How do I know I need to do an S corp? How I know I need to do this, that? How do they know which one to choose? What are the,
And but the way that they know is what their plans are. So if planning on your business to grow where you're going to hit the 500 to a million, then you need to really, really consider how which one is going to help me tax wise. See, people make the
Right.
mistake of making money and then they want to expense it all because they don't want to pay taxes. But I'm here to tell you, there's not one successful person that became successful without paying Uncle Sam. You're going to pay
Really.
Uncle Sam. You're going to pay it the right
One
way,
way or another.
or you're going to pay them the other way where it's going to hurt
Or
you.
the
And
hard
they're
way.
going to, So what they do is they make money. I have people come and they made $250,000, but they want me to believe that their expenses are $220,000. So one problem with that is that you're assuming that the IRS is stupid, and they're not.
Right.
Nobody is in business to lose money. They're all in business to make
Right.
money. Number one. And you're an LLC, which is a single member LLC that's going on a Schedule C. You have no payroll. So you want to say that your expenses is $220. Their thing is, well, how did you pay your bills? Because your house note, that's not an expense. All of your car is not an expense because there's personal to that. Do you have a location or are you working from home? And if you're working from home, you only get a small percentage of your bills. So how did you pay yourself? How did you live? And people don't
They
think
can't
about
fool
those
I
you.
things.
see. Yes, I love that because that helps people to be a
With
little
that
bit
forensics
smarter.
experience.
You will
Yeah.
not. So, but
That's
basically, the moral of
right.
the story is don't try to fool them. They're coming after you if you do.
Yeah, they're going to come up. The
They're gonna
only
get
reason
you
why
anyway.
they haven't come after so many people already is because they're understaffed severely. Look, I just went
Yeah.
last week
Interesting.
to the IRS tax forum, because I have to get continuing education credits. So I always go to these things, and there was
Okay.
over 900 people there, and they were trying to get us to apply.
Wow.
They were hiring right
And,
on the spot. That's how bad they need people.
and what were they hiring for again?
They would for IRS agents.
Yeah, you know
They
what?
needed
I
people
will
They
admit,
to.
want to
Sheila,
start
I
cracking
actually
down,
got put on to that too. I got hired just like that. It was so quick. I was like, oh wow. I didn't stay because I ended up getting another job opportunity. I was there for I didn't even finish training, but I was just like, oh wow, it was so quick. Yeah, like they needed people
Yeah,
so fast. Like they
they
needed
need
people like a
people,
lot of people.
and with our expertise, because everyone there were CPAs, EAs, they were tax professionals.
They
So
weren't even
they
getting people
were,
with
Okay.
tax
yeah, but
background.
now they're trying to get the people with the knowledge.
Wow.
And so
Nah,
they're
gotcha,
going after
gotcha.
these people. So as a business owner,
Mhm.
when you first start off, I've had a client that came to me before she wanted to start. She had I had her write down everything that she needed. I helped her do her business plan. When she finished it, she said, now it's not a good time. I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't have the money. So then I sat down and I said, okay, before you make that decision, let me do something with you. Work with me for, an hour or so and let me go over things. So we went through her bank account and I said, so I see you have a lot of personal things here. I want you to, make a choice and turn these things off. So she turned off her cable because she was never at home. She, changed her cell phone provider. Like she cut so much out of her thing, her occasional going out with her friends and smoking and all of that, took
Okay.
all of that out. And then within I think it was 3 months, she came back and said, I got the money, let's do it. And
Awesome.
now she's not working another job. She's just working her business. And she still keep that mentality. You know,
I got you.
I meet a lot of, you know, entrepreneur women
Mm-hmm.
of, you know, the minority.
Hmm.
And I have to say this.
Go ahead, speak it out.
Oh, be easy now.
The problem with, you know, minority
Mm-hmm.
women and some men is that when we were young, we were never given those financial tools. We were never taught.
I
We
agree.
wasn't never even taught about simple things in school like our credit or things like
Yeah.
that.
That's right.
And so we grew up with limited resources. So now they build these businesses, and when they build the business and they have this money coming through, they tend to buy things that they never could afford before, because now it's about a flexing thing,
About a lifestyle now.
Hmm.
a lifestyle and flexing.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do that, it hurts them tremendously.
Yeah.
And let me
Right.
explain why. I've said this before. My son, he has 2 or 3 business, very successful. And when I would
Okay.
stand with him for a little time, some years ago, and I was there, and he said to me, he says, "Mom, aren't you proud of me? Look at what I've accomplished. Look at my business." He took me to there, doing great. And he said to me, "What do you think?" And I said, "Okay, come with me." And I took him to his front window. And I said, "I want you to look in your driveway." I said, "Is what in your driveway worth more money than you got in your bank account?"
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I was like, "Is there more money in your driveway than you have in your bank account? How much are those
Mm-hmm.
cars that you have there that you're paying $500 or $600 a month on?"
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said,
Depreciating assets.
yeah, that's what, and it's really not
Right.
an asset, because let's
It's
It's
get
not. It's a
not.
into it.
You're right.
liability.
Let's get into it. If you go out and
It's a
let's say that you
liability.
buy one of these fancy cars, a Porsche or something like that, when you go get the car, they have a price on it.
Mm-hmm.
That price might be $75,000. Let's say that. If you're not paying cash for it, when you drive it off, it's a debt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even an asset,
That's right.
because that
Right.
75, they're going to attack
The
on the
value
finance charges of it.
drops.
So you're over
Right.
what it's even worth. So if you drive off the lot
Hmm.
and you have an accident, you got
Hmm.
no car, and then you still got a debt that you're going to
Have to
pay
still
about
pay.
40 or 50, because they're only going to give you the value of the car.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't
Right.
stop and we don't think about those
Mm-hmm.
things. And when I brought my car, when we went to the dealership, I asked them how much the car was, and I got a Toyota Highlander. And he told me how much it was. I sat there and I calculated it. And he said, "Well, do you want to finance it?" My husband said, "Yeah, we're going to finance it." I was like, "Hold him up 1 second." Did my little calculation, and I said, "Okay, I'm only going to finance 15,000."
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he said, 15,000. And I said, "Yes." So then he says, "Well, that means you're going to put down the rest." I said, "Yep, we're going to put down the rest." And my husband's looking at me like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what we're going to do." And so once I did that, each month I paid, my car note was only 300 and something, but I paid 600 and something,
Mm-hmm.
where I paid it off early. So when um, COVID hit and everything, my car was worth what I paid for.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get me to
Hmm.
sell it back to them
Of
for
course, they
the same
always do that.
30
They're good for
something
that.
that I had paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
No.
"No, I'm keeping my car."
Yep.
And like now, the car is paid for, but the value is still 20 something thousand. And I told my husband, I said, that's how you do
Yeah.
things. When we
Exactly.
buy our house, like we purchase land.
Mm-hmm.
So you pay cash for that land and then you just wait. You wait and you make sure that you get a lot that's big enough where you can only use maybe 1 or 2 acres for the house. So the bank can only hold the loan on the house that and that those acres that the house on. But look at all other acres
Okay.
that you own.
Mm. Wow, very smart, Kim.
So you have to outsmart,
You do.
you know,
And like they say,
the
actually,
society.
you should be before you choose to put your money into the liability like that, you should actually have your assets paying for that liability. If your assets
Mm-hmm.
can't really pay off that liability right then and there, it's like, well, just wait. Drive your hoopty, drive your buggy, drive whatever you got to drive until you can
Yeah.
actually get that liability with your assets paying it off, right then and there.
Mm-hmm. And I
But
get it
that's,
all the time here. People say, you don't, present yourself the way that, your company is like, you're like boss mode, but you just so down to earth or whatever. And it's like,
Right.
no, I'm not going to do that because like, how am I helping my clients
mm-hmm.
by doing some of the very things that I'm telling them not to do,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
And if you really
Well, here's a
think about it,
question.
if you
Yeah.
if you ask any person that just do this just for the fun of it, find one of your
Sure.
friends that's driving like a fancy car, whatever car it is, and you ask them, did you really want that car? Why did you buy that car? And usually it's for other people to look at them and think that there's
That's
something.
yeah. To impress others is
Yeah,
what most people are
Mm-hmm.
doing,
yeah.
buying certain cars for, right? But tell me about the structure of your company, and what type of clients do you provide service to? What do they look like?
So my company is a corporation. I set it up as an S corp, so I'm an employee actually of the corporation.
Okay.
I'm like
Uh,
the
Smart.
president, CEO,
Mm-hmm.
and
yes.
we have all kinds of clients. I have all different kinds of races, black, white. I got a lot of foreigners. My tax clients come from all different nationalities. For a long
Okay.
time, I I kept the business small because, like, for taxes, I probably did like maybe 150. Maybe I kept it small because I wanted to
Okay.
control and manage my time. You know,
I
but
got you.
this year I hired marketing, and so I had to hire
Hmm.
staff to handle it, and the growth
Okay.
is
Awesome.
it's on a upward mobility. It's
Oh,
like
that's
growing.
awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
getting
up is
calls
always
every day,
good.
And
So I'm just
talk
trying
about boss
to,
mode.
yeah, trying
Uh
to.
huh.
I'm just
You're
allowing the company to do what it needs to do, and ultimately,
awesome.
ultimately by the end of this year,
Mm-hmm.
in all honesty, I want to be gone.
You said you want to be
I think I
gone.
You
built
want it to
it.
run on its own.
Yes.
You want to be on vacation, and you want to make this business to be running efficiently. Is that what you mean?
Yes,
Without you being there.
That's the
I'm
whole plan,
hiring
right?
Awesome.
people. We're doing a lot of training,
Hmm.
and I want to just be able to come in and look over stuff and sign off on it.
Awesome.
I want to get more into teaching. I have my own
Okay.
podcast, so we're doing that, and
Yes.
there's
What's the
so
name of that podcast, by the way?
it's called Business Fumbles. So
Business.
I focus on,
Business Fumbles.
yeah, Business Fumbles.
And where can we check you out?
Um, it's on Spotify. It's on Apple,
Spotify.
YouTube.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think he has it. I mean, it's just like I see
Uh,
it all the time
it's
now
a live
popping up
show.
because my marketing
It's a
people do it.
okay. It's a live show.
Yes, it's live. So people come into the
Okay,
studio and I interview
awesome.
them. And both basically, I'm focusing on the business mistakes, the common mistakes that
Oh,
people
that's true.
make, the misconceptions of
Okay,
business
Mm-hmm.
owners. You know, there's a lot of misconceptions
yeah,
on being a business owner and thinking that it's this lavish thing. You're making the money, you control the money, but there's so many different
well,
components that people don't pay
absolutely.
attention to. So that's what I focus on my
So
podcast. I talk about the mistakes.
we need that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That we need that. I think it's going to be very successful. And you said you do what, multiple times a week, two
we
times
do
a
it
week. You're
on
hearing that
Mondays and Tuesdays. We record.
Mondays and Tuesday. Okay,
That's why it makes it hard for me to do this because I have that, and then they're going to be re leasing my book again, so they want me to do a tour and
okay.
stuff like that. So I need to
Oh
free up
wow,
some of my time. I really need to free
the
up some of
time,
my time.
absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're what was I going to say? You mentioned courses, did you? You're looking at teaching, is what I heard you say, I
Yes,
believe.
teaching.
Are you looking at doing some courses and teaching people how to do what you do?
Well,
Is that something that's in the?
I do speaking
Oh, you
events
do.
already. I did one
Okay.
last year in Atlanta, the Black Conference, business conference. I spoke at that one. I spoke
Are you
at,
talking about
pardon me?
InvestFest?
Huh?
InvestFest? Which was that the InvestFest?
No, it was the business, the
I was just wondering.
149th
Oh, okay.
Black Business Conference or
Uh,
something like
Black
that.
business what?
oh,
And
okay. Cool.
yeah, Black Business
Oh.
Conference. I think that was the name of it. And then I did a couple out of Washington D.C. Um, some of them I I I do a lot of speaking events here in classes for schools. Um, I do speaking events that way. Um, I have gotten some offers, and some of them I turn down
Mm-hmm.
when the
Awesome.
when the event is more about my story. I turn them down
Really?
because
Oh, okay.
yeah, because
You want to help people
yeah, and my story is not going to
learn
help
how
them.
to.
My story
Yeah,
is
your
my
story.
story. It worked for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's going to work for
Everybody
everybody
else.
else. And I know that sometimes it can be inspirational, but to me, that inspiration comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know
Okay.
that this is what I want to do. And you have to step out there on faith. You have to eliminate fear.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a process that you can do all of that because it is natural for anyone to be nervous
Exactly.
when you're doing
That
something
lets you know
new.
that you're getting
That is
closer though,
so
that you're doing
natural,
something
Right.
right.
you know.
Right.
So now you have to come
Right.
up with a way to, eliminate number one, doubt
Mm-hmm.
and procrastination and fear. They all three is hand in hand, and one of them adds to the other
I love
ones.
that.
And
Yeah.
so you
Great
just have
advice.
to
Great advice.
step out there and you
Mm-hmm.
have to take the attitude. If I fail, I fail. If I don't, at least I know that I tried.
I know that's right.
And one thing that I have
You only
learned,
fail. Yeah. You only fail when you give up. Right.
yes,
You keep it going.
yes,
Keep
you just
moving
have to
forward.
Gotta
keep
keep going
You're
going
because
gonna
you're going to
forward.
go
succeed
through
at
those
some point.
hurdles and you're going to fail
Yeah,
sometimes. You can't be afraid to do
Right.
it.
the obstacle,
Failure is a
exactly.
part of success,
Yeah,
without a
And
doubt.
that's
and the
actually what we're talking
obstacles
about
that
with our
Right.
growth mindset, you know. And so that
yeah.
kind of gave a overview of what growth mindset meant to you. But is there more like specific definition of what growth mindset means, particularly to you?
Well, yeah. So growth mindset, that is, I'm going to say that's an excellent name
Thank
because
you. Thank you.
your mindset, it tells
It's everything.
everyone out there what your growth pattern is.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
tells the whole world, anybody that deals with you, you know, what your growth pattern is. And I always say, you know, to my people that's close to me, my daughters, my
Mm-hmm.
kids, my grandkids, and I tell them, if every year you have a birthday and you look at yourself and you say, I'm the same as I was last year,
Means you might need to step up and try something different. Get out your
you should
comfort
see
Game
zone.
up.
something. Exactly. There should
Right.
be growth in
Yeah.
you. And
Something challenging you to get bigger
yes,
and better and achieve more.
yeah, you have to
Mm-hmm.
have, you know, especially in business,
Mm-hmm.
your mindset
Yeah,
has to be on
They
growth.
do.
And that's why it's an
absolutely.
excellent name, because I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say probably 75% of business owners,
Mm-hmm.
they have the mindset of just making enough.
Mm.
Just enough
That
to
is
get by.
not growth,
Yeah.
because growth
That
is
is
going
a
to
high
allow you,
percentage.
it's going to allow you to do, you
The
know, the
bare
sky is the
minimum.
limit. One thing that I
Right.
have learned at owning my own business is that there is no need for anyone to hate on the next
Mm-hmm.
person. If a person needs me to help them to get to that next
Mm-hmm.
level, I promise you, I will write down the manual for
I
them.
love it.
I will get on the phone with them and
Right.
say, this is what you need to do.
I love it.
Because there's enough money out there for everybody. There's enough money
Everybody.
out there for
That's right.
everyone. And
There is
no
no
one has
shortage
to
of money.
suffer. What hurts our economy is the greed. And other people,
Right.
you know, especially
And
within,
that fixed mindset.
yeah, and
Right.
especially
People
in
just
our race,
Mm-hmm.
people feel like you
right.
know, in the black race, everybody wants to be the
Right.
Yeah,
first.
they can't share anything.
What's
Like if
wrong
I
Right.
with
They
share
want to
this, they're
everybody?
step
going to
on
take
each other
over,
to
and
Yeah,
try
it's
to
not going to
get
be
there,
nothing for
right?
me.
yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
that's not
yes.
true.
So a lot of people take that attitude, and I hear it all the time. Like,
Limiting
yeah,
beliefs.
I hear it all the time with
Yeah.
people saying, you just give people information and they don't pay you for it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, and
What's
they
wrong with
can't
that?
take nothing for me that's meant for me.
Yeah,
No one can take
Right.
from me that's meant for me. I don't worry about those things.
Exactly.
that's that
So
growth
if I can,
Exactly. And the more you give, the more you receive.
yes.
What was that? I missed that.
Hmm.
What'd you
I
say,
said that's
Keisha?
that growth mindset. What she just said.
Yes.
Exactly.
Just
The
like
more
that
you
in that
give, the more
order.
you receive. And it's that
Yeah.
exactly.
But it's hard to get people to understand it. It's hard to get people
Right.
to see, you know, um,
Right. Right.
that it you know, it doesn't require you to, you know, downplay somebody else's situation.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
Right.
There's enough out there for
I
everybody.
agree.
And nobody is
I
trying
agree.
to step on your toes. If you're going to take that attitude, then I could take the attitude that I'm the only, you know, professional accountant, CPA. I'm the only one out here. When you know that there's a million others.
And it limits your growth too, because you're not going to go too far when you are sitting there
Absolutely.
trying to, belittle other people or feel like I got to step on
Yeah.
toes to get to where I need to get to. You're
Undermine
going to
other
only
people.
get so far because that's just part of how it works. You have to be able
Yeah.
to be open to be a giver, to be also a receiver, and also a believer. So all of those things
Yeah.
work hand in hand in order to reach the ultimate. growth of where you want to be in your life, in your business or
But
anything.
Yeah.
also, you know, you can't. No man is an island, right? We can't get to where we want to be by ourselves, right? So in order to, achieve higher heights, it's important for you to form alliances, to partner with people, to help people to get where they are. Then you get from in exchange, they give you, back in exchange for, what you've given them. I mean, those alliances help you to grow
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and to, to not limit yourself,
Yeah. So,
So
like
yeah,
on some of my videos that I do for the business, that's what I talk about. Like when you're starting your business, those are things, some of the first things that you need to do, because you have to
right,
create your village. And how you find that
right,
those people is you have to get out, you have to network. And when you're networking,
exactly,
it's not about just going into an event and you getting everybody's cards and you want everybody to know you. You know, um,
right,
one thing that I tell my kids this, it's like the saying where you have to kiss someone's butt to get to the top. That's a true statement. But you have to
hmm,
learn how to sit back and watch and see which one you need to kiss, because sometimes you be kissing the middleman or somebody that's attached to the other one, and then you just constantly just jumping from one up the other.
One butt to
You have
another
to learn
butt.
how to be
but
silent. You know,
right,
you got to learn how to be
that
silent, and you got to learn how to watch. And when that person is telling you, hey, I can get you this and I can get you that, and you say, oh yeah,
right,
like I'm
but
interested, and
that
then you watch them walk away and they whispering to somebody else, and then they come back like, yeah, yeah, I got you. Now you know that you need to get to the one he was whispering to.
Okay.
exactly.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, thinking of it in those terms about kissing somebody's butt is a limiting
Mm-hmm.
thought, right? And I think that if you turn that around and just look at it as giving value to somebody,
Yeah.
right? Don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to consider it kissing their butt,
Yeah.
but there's a law of reciprocity, right?
Yeah.
There's things come back to you the more you give,
Uh-huh.
right? So when you're giving to others, somebody who could be helpful to you, and you're offering them your services, and somebody who could be a mentor to you can actually provide you with the most incredible knowledge in the world to help you avoid the shortfalls that they went through, right?
Yeah.
So considering it a kissing butt is far from what people should be considering that. I mean, you
Well,
should only consider it giving value to
giving
that
value.
person in
And you know
exchange
what?
for their knowledge.
And I would
Yeah,
agree with you 100% if we didn't live in the society that we live in.
Mm.
Because what you're
yeah,
saying and the type of people, including myself, I know that is rare. I know that it's rare. And me trying to
yeah,
educate others, I get a little,
yeah,
Yeah.
resistance until they
yeah,
see the
yeah,
difference and then they're willing to make that change. You know, we have a lot of old traumas
yeah. That we're
that
dealing with.
that we deal with,
For real.
and it allows
Absolutely.
us to stunt our growth.
Yeah.
It allows that.
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
have to face
I'm right
ourselves
now,
and our
I'm
traumas.
gonna tell you my age. I am 59
Okay.
years
You're
old.
what?
Listen, I am 59
59
years
years
old,
young.
You
and
Yeah,
you
you
gonna
look great
fool
for your
me.
age.
yes, no,
Hold up,
but
Mm.
hold up. I'm
it
sorry.
took me.
We gotta give a clap for that.
Yeah, right. Let's hear that
I need that clap for
clap. All right.
that.
We need that. We need to clap for that.
But it took me up until my age now to learn that when someone does something to offend me, to control my reaction. It took me to the age that I am now, that when something happens within that day, to not allow it to change my mood. It took a lot of years for me to get there. So now we have a lot of young people coming into the entrepreneuring thing. That still exists. And so that makes the mistakes even more, because they haven't learned that technique. And I can't sit here and fault them for it because, as I said, I'm 59 and I'm just learning it.
Yeah.
I just learned this.
Yeah. Some people
Just
never
going through
figure it out.
my ups and downs.
And some people never figure it out, even till, their
Yeah.
deathbed. So this is something that is worth talking about. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how whatever, or how knowledgeable you think you are. I mean, everybody has the same issue. It's really about the mental capacity that we have and where are we in our lives, and do we really evaluate who we are? Do we reflect?
Yeah.
And can we face the truth?
Absolutely.
So I mean, it is what it is. And I'm glad that we're talking about that, even with the younger generation coming into the entrepreneurial world. Besides the mindset, what do they need to know, especially for their first year when it comes, now I'm going back to the taxes, when it comes to the taxes now, okay? What are some of the key points, like, because there's some things where they say about write-offs, like in the first year, especially, that certain things are more where you can have 100%, I believe, of a write-off, and others maybe not. How does that work? So people who are just starting their journey, they know how to be able to classify it at the end of the year.
So when you're first starting off, there's like if you have a business location, like this is my office. Everything that I pay for here is a business write-off. But then when you're in your home, you're working, the IRS is only going to give, I think the max is 35% of your rent, your lights, and your gas. That's not a lot when you're making the amounts to pay the full amount. It is not a deduction. Then a lot of the meals, they always put all of their meals on there. And meals are only 50%. They're only 50% write-off.
What about education?
So if education is a full write-off.
Okay.
Education is a full write-off. And let me see. Sometimes they want to put their car on there. And you can, if you're using your car for business.
Not using it for business purposes.
Yeah. So if you're using your car for business, yes, you can write it off.
Right.
No problem. But you have to really, what the IRS does. Okay. So I had a trucking company that did their tax return. Okay. And on their tax return, when they brought it to me, they had utilities on there. So I was like, what utilities are you driving a truck?
On the road.
And it was like the home office. And I said, okay.
Home office.
But then when he got audited, they took it all off. And he came back and he said, you were so right. And it has to make sense for your business. And I think that a lot of people don't think about that. Okay, for a hairstylist, they have some of them will have a booth. If you're writing off the rent for your booth, how are you going to write off a home office? What are you doing in a home office?
I mean, yeah, you can't be in two places at one time.
But
right, it doesn't. It has to make sense, and I think that is that is the number one problem that we have is nobody is thinking anymore. They just want a quick fix. Yeah. Everything got to be quick. Yeah. They will watch a video and say, "Hey, go out, create a LLC, go buy your car, pay all your bills under the LLC."
They say that. They be like, if you have an LLC, you should not ever have to say you're paying for anything.
Look at your face. Well, Well, Sheila, it sounds like you are a business's best friend, right? I mean, they need you.
Right. He said,
What'd you say?
he says, I want to, um, I said, I had a client come in. I want to set up an LLC so that I could put all my cars under the LLC. So I said to him, I said, who told you to do that?
Okay.
He said, oh, I seen it. And my friend, he told me that I could do that and move all of the cars under the LLC. So I looked at him and I said, you already have the
Right.
cars? He said, yes, I already have the cars. I said, when you got those cars, what did they ask you for? He said, oh, they asked me for my check stub. They wanted to check my income. They checked this, they checked that. I was like, okay. So now you want me to set up an LLC, right? And I said, he said, yeah. I said, okay, I'm going to set up the LLC. So now you want to go to them and tell them to move the car over into the LLC, right? He said, yeah. And I said, what they going to ask you for? Because now you're trying to refinance your car. And he said, they're going to ask for the income. What income do the business have? Where's your income? You just open. So more than likely, where the car is going to stay? He said, in my name. I said, okay, so do you still want to set up the LLC? He said, I guess not.
Wow.
I was like,
So you
okay.
just wanted to do the LLC for the
Now I
car.
could have easily took your money.
Wow.
I could have easily took your money.
Mm-hmm.
But why would I do that? Why would I do
Wow.
that?
Well, it's good that you give the education with it because a lot of people will just take the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do I mean, do take it? How do people get in contact with you? By the way.
Well, our website is www.SheWinsBookkeeping.com. And that's She Wins, just
Awesome.
like it sounds.
She
SheWins.
wins. I love
She
that name.
Because
Wins.
she does win.
Yes.
Awesome. How
A
did?
lot
Oh,
of
that's a
people ask
great
me,
name.
how did I come up with it?
I was going to ask that next. How did you come up with it?
Well, She Wins is me and my husband. My name is Sheila,
Awesome.
so I took my first letters, and
Sheila,
his
I
name
thought
is
it was your
Winston.
first one.
And
Awesome.
his
Oh,
name
well,
is
that
Awesome.
is
Winston. So
very.
I took
I
his
would have thought because
first
it
three
just meant
letters.
she is winning or something. So, wow.
If you hire Sheila Williams and you win, right? That's the way it comes across. And it sounds
Yeah.
like you will win because you have everyone's best interest in mind.
Yeah.
And you will never take anybody's money and you're going to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing I like about your website, when I go there, it's amazing how you have the woman power behind you. I mean, are all the people who work for you women?
Right now, yes. All
Yes. Oh, cool. I love that,
yeah.
by the way. That is so
I
cool.
like it too.
And I have
That's good.
different nationalities. I'm looking to add one other person, but we have, of course, blacks. I have a Russian, one
Okay.
Caucasian, and
Okay.
we're hoping to do our receptionist. Right now, we have a part-time receptionist, but we're going to hire another part-time because she can't
Okay.
do all of the hours we need, and we're looking
Excellent.
for someone that speaks Spanish.
Awesome.
So that
Awesome.
we can deal with all of our clients because I have clients, of all nationalities,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we have a lot of foreigners that is very hard um, to understand them, but
Yeah.
we get through it, and I
But
help them as much as I
That's
can.
what it's about.
I love how strong your company looks with all these women standing up
Hey,
behind you
Yeah,
on your homepage. That's
it's
pretty powerful. And you made a logo. The logo is actually you that you guys standing together in that
yeah,
photo, right? It's pretty
yeah. We
cool.
took it.
Love it.
Well, it was my logo at first. The first logo that I
Oh, okay.
had, it was just with three women. And
Oh, okay.
so I was rebranding my company, and they said, we need to do a photo shoot. For a long time, I did not have my face with the business. I just never
Oh,
wanted
okay.
that. I just used my logo. And then when they rebrand me, they said, yeah, we
yeah,
need your face. We need
yeah.
you. So we did the photo shoot, and they hired some models to go in it. And it was, wow, that photo shoot was like, it was crazy because I had to appear really tall. I'm only 5'3", and some of the models were like 5'11" and 6 feet,
Making
and
you
I'm
look
like,
like
oh my
a little
god.
midget, right?
So yeah, so they put me in these high heels, and I had to stand
Yeah,
on this thing in order for them to get, you know.
yeah, at the right
And so
height.
yeah. And so then they took that picture and they created the rebranded my logo
Okay,
so that I
cool.
can use it on everything
Well,
now.
we know that you're going to do amazing and more wonderful things, even just with some of the things you've already been doing with helping educate people. I think education is number one. And so, like,
Hmm.
what trends do you foresee happening now in the accounting world, or things that people might need to be prepared for that might be upcoming anytime soon?
Well, with all of the technology and you being able to upload things and getting reports, is sort of trying to go to a place where they eliminate,
Mm,
bookkeepers and accountants. And
Hmm.
they're already starting to do
really?
it. And when I was at the forum, they had a lot of cases that the IRS audited and the numbers was wrong.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So a lot of people are going to this automation, um, and they're getting away from the traditional way of doing things. Even accounting is
Hmm.
changing because
Hmm.
the traditional way to accounts payable and receivable is really not there anymore because a lot of people are just putting everything on auto
Yeah.
pay. So,
Yeah.
it's changing, but it's always going to be needed. And,
Hmm.
you know, you can hire robots and you can hire these softwares, to do all of these things and try to automate things and make things easier for you. But what the public needs to realize is a human is putting the things in there.
It's nothing like a
Hmm.
human
So if
touch.
the things are wrong, everything that spits out is going to be wrong.
Wrong. Yeah.
So you need to get someone that knows what they're doing, knows what questions to
Mm-hmm.
ask, knows what accounts are needed. And just because, I want to say this before we
Mm-hmm.
end, just because I have a lot of letters behind my name does not make me an expert.
Hmm.
Experience makes me an
Mm-hmm.
expert. And
There
that's
you
what you
go.
must remember when you're going out there. A lot of people say, oh, I want a CPA. Well, you can get a CPA that only passed a test and has no
Don't know how to apply
experience.
anything.
Well, how
So
long
he's
have you been doing
learning
this?
right along with you.
Hmm.
So if he's learning right along with you, how much do you think that he's going to catch?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for 35
Yeah,
years.
so that's
35
it.
years
That sounds like an
experience.
expert to me.
And
Out.
well, I'm an expert in certain things. I tell people that all the time. So when it comes to tax, the laws are so huge. This is the largest, library of laws. There's no way that I can store it up here. And I still
Hmm.
have cases where I have to go back to my
Hmm.
books.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I tell people, yeah, I passed a lot of tests. But if you ask me those questions that was on that test now, probably wouldn't
Yeah.
know because I
You
only
won't be
learned
able
it
to
to pass it.
get right.
And so you have to get in your mindset. I think that people need to understand that before you make decisions, think, ask the right questions. Just don't accept, things that tickle your ear. Do the research, find out if it's true. Like I can Google and say, well, on my tax form, I can write this off and I can write that off. But then I go over to irs.gov and I put that same thing in, and then it gives me a straight up list, because it does. It gives you a list. And some of the things that the internet or social media done told me I can write off is not even on that list. Which one am I going to listen to? Am I going to listen to the IRS that wrote it? That's actually going to, approve it or disapprove it, send you your refund, and then audit you and make you pay it all back along with penalties? Which one am I going to listen to?
That's a good question.
Because everything that a person does on your tax return, every single form, it is on irs.gov. And guess what?
Right.
They give you the form, and then they give you the instructions.
Right.
So
Yeah, you
there's
better
no
listen to what the
excuse
IRS is telling you.
Yeah. So some of it is
That's
no
my
excuse.
advice. Yeah.
It's no
And so you
excuse.
should read those instructions.
So when I
remember we heard something where you were
Yes.
talking about that, and you were saying like read what's on those instructions on that form so you can know what they're doing on your taxes, right?
Yeah. I have people that say, the IRS sent me this letter, and I read it and I say, they're saying that you took an educational credit. Now they want proof. Well, I never said I went to school, but it was on your tax return. But I didn't tell them to put that on there, but you signed it.
Right.
Yeah. And then they
Most
sitting
people
there
just
looking, like all you cared about was the refund.
Exactly.
When they told you, oh, you getting $8,000, you
saw
like,
that
yeah,
money,
okay,
maybe
$8,000.
I'm not gonna change anything on here.
Yeah.
He signed it. Okay.
As long as they receive that check, they
There we
good.
go.
Yeah.
When I'm gonna get my money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to know what's the expected ETA?
Where do I sign? Where do I sign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to stop doing that. You have to stop doing that. Pay attention to your tax return. I have a person came in here. She asked me to do her taxes. I started asking her for documents. She said, my last accountant didn't ask me for that. Well, I'm not your last accountant. If you want me to do it, I need these things. Then when she gave it to me and I said, this says that you're a C Corp. She said, yeah, I am. And I said, well, why is your business on a Schedule C? So I had to mend all of those years.
That's what happens when you get half, when they ask for half things, you're going to get half things done. Since they didn't ask for no documents.
And people need to understand that.
Blah, blah.
You can say half-ass on this show.
Yeah, because I was like,
You're trying to hold back. Come on now.
Should I be good? Should I be bad? Should I curse today? Because I could, but I just was like, no, not today.
Anyway.
So anybody that owns a business and they go get their tax done, if your tax provider do not ask you for your SS4, you question it. Okay. That's the first thing that they should ask you for if you are a business. Because that SS4 is going to tell you what form you need to file for your taxes. It has your tax ID for the business, your EIN number, and then in the body of it, it tells you your partnership, you need 1065. You're a corporation, you need 1120. You're an S Corp, you need a S1120. It's right on there. You're a single member LLC, Schedule C. It's right on that letter.
Yeah, interesting.
And it tells you what they are expecting from your tax preparer. So if they don't ask you for that,
beware.
Question it. Beware.
All right. Well, you know what?
Great
that
advice.
was some great information. Thank you so much, Sheila, for that.
Really
Is there anything else before we get ready to close this out that you might want to add or put in there so we can know, or that anybody else who's listening would like to know?
Well, if you want to know, like if you are a beginner with setting up your business, or you're considering setting up your business, I would advise you to go out and get my book. It is on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. and it's called A Long Road to Success. Business mistakes are
And we will
preventable.
put that out there
And
for
in
you
there,
too. That link.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it talks about the business plan. It talks about so much, all of the different things that you should know as a business owner. And I talk about mistakes my personal mistakes that I learned from and how I came out of it,
Okay.
and I know, and then in the back of it, I have a lot of business owners that gave, what their biggest mistakes were. And
Mm.
in the book, I talk about each one
I
of
love
them.
it.
Help to avoid those
So,
pitfalls. I
Yeah.
love
yeah.
it.
People need to know
That's
that.
great.
And I included them because I wanted, them to know how much thought I put behind it. All of these
Yeah.
business owners that I managed their books, they gave their input and I put it there, and within the book, I talk about it that I made. So that's what makes it so, powerful, because not only did I make these mistakes, so did they.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I picked up a copy. I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, but I'm definitely going to do that. I need that information in there. That's for
Okay.
sure.
I need it too, so I might need to
And
go ahead and
I
get that book
recommend
too. I didn't
everyone
get it yet,
else.
but I'm going to. Definitely.
Absolutely. I recommend everybody get
Yes.
that book. We had a great time talking
We
to you
did.
today. Lots of great insights. Wish you much, much success. And we're gonna, we're here for you if you need us. Definitely. we'll be.
Go ahead, keep on talking, Mike. We
All
want to.
right. So anyway, listen. That's a wrap for this week's episode of Growth Mindset with Mike and Keisha. We hope you found today's conversation as inspiring and insightful as we
Yes, and
did.
remember, success is a journey, not a destination. Every step you take gets you closer to your goals.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us to reach
Yes,
more
thank
entrepreneurs like
you.
you.
And don't forget to follow us on social media for more tips and updates. You can always find us on our social media on Digital Sphere Consulting on Instagram. The same thing is on Facebook and on LinkedIn, Digital Sphere Consulting for each one. And Sheila, would you like to go ahead and share any Instagram links or websites or anything as well?
Yes, we are on YouTube. It's just SheWins Bookkeeping Service. There you can watch all episodes of our podcast. We will be moving it though over into Business Fumbles. I had to do some trademarking and everything before, so that's completed. My Instagram is SheWins 1919, I
Okay.
think. Yes, and my Facebook is just She Wins Williams, not Sheila Williams, but She Wins Williams, and that is my TikTok
All
also.
right.
Awesome. We'll put that up on the screen for people to
Yes.
see and post
Yes.
editing.
Yes.
But thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And
Thank you.
join us for next week as for another deep dive into the world of entrepreneurship. Until
See
then,
you
keep
later.
growing, keep pushing forward.
Peace.
Thank you. Thank you
Bye.
guys for having me.
With Digital Sphere Consulting.
Yes.
.com. We sell a CRM software that
Check the
is
link.
an all-in-one tool for managing your business.
Yes.
It has over 400 tools. Yeah, so go
Mhm.
to app.digitalsphereconsulting.com,
Yes.
14-day trial. Try it out.
As of yesterday. Try
And
it
you'll be
out.
very impressed.